I don't know. You and I could just listen to that song all day.
We could.
We could just play that back to back and just, you know, and then all our songs. We just have a podcast. We play all our songs. That's all we do. We just introduce the song and sit back and jam and just rock out. Because, you know, how cool would that be?
We could actually make that happen.
Let's make that happen, man. Let's have just a Chris and Mike rock and roll show. You know, just the music, man. The music saves the masses, right?
We will do that.
The music saves the world. So we had a guest scheduled, and we rescheduled him, and I had somebody else going to pop on, and I haven't been able to connect with them. So hopefully they still chime in.
So we're back to the basics, the way it all started.
Back to the basics of love. Let's go to Lukenbach, Texas, with Waylon and Willie and the boys.
That's a great song.
It is a great song. The successful life we're living has got us feuding like the Hatfields and McCoys. He was. He died in Arizona. He's buried at the Mesa Cemetery.
Yeah, when I first moved there, there was a guy that lived about 4 doors down, and he remembered going and seeing him playing the bars in Arizona with
See, I wish I would have known that, dude. That would have been cool, right?
Yeah. He told me some great stories, man.
Share a Waylon Jennings Arizona bar playing story, Mike, for our viewing audience on YouTube.
Well, it was more just the fact that, like, you know, he was that much old. He was probably 60 at the time, so he was really been there, done that as far as, you know,
everything.
Those guys were nobody when I saw him.
Right.
You know, he saw him go from the only people that knew him were Arizona. You know, they toured around New Mexico, Texas, the Southwest basically in the beginning. So they both got their start in that part of the country, and that's the only part of the country that knew them at that time.
Wow.
So they were young men then.
Okay. So I don't know if you know this or not, but Waylon Jennings was actually a backup guitarist for Buddy Holly and the Crickets.
I seem to have heard that at one point in time, and I had forgotten. Yeah, that's a fact.
So, true story, the night that the music died, when the plane crashed, Buddy Holly and Waylon got in a fight because Waylon didn't want to ride on a bus. And they were just like, well, Buddy Holly's the star. This other dude, Big Bopper, and the other guy that died, they were the stars.
Yep.
So they got to go on the plane. Everybody else had to ride the bus.
Unfortunate.
And here you are. Waylon Jennings lived a lot longer than Buddy Holly did.
The night that Stevie Ray Vaughan died, Eric Clapton was supposed to be on that helicopter, but his manager had never met Stevie Ray.
Oh, fuck, dude. That would have been catastrophic.
Yeah, we could have lost both of them.
Wow. That's the reason. That's the only reason why Eric wasn't on it, because his manager didn't know him?
That was the story I heard back in the day. Now, if you Google it, that could have been urban myth. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Eric Clapton was definitely there that night because it was one of those guitar festival deals. So, like Buddy Guy, Eric Clapton, Stevie Ray, Jimmy Vaughan, they were all there.
Wow.
Some kind of blues festival. I think it was Clapton's first. He does like a yearly blues festival. I think that was one of the first ones, was in Alpine Valley, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's where the plane took off?
Yeah. So when it was a helicopter.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. My bad.
And it flew into fog, which is against, I think, visual flight rules for a helicopter. It's not supposed to fly into dense fog.
I.e. Kobe Bryant.
You know, you've been to the Midwest. There's no mountains here. It was the side of a hill he flew into.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty good-sized hill, but, I mean, it's still a hill.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason Kobe Bryant's no longer with us.
Correct. Yeah.
You know?
Stay out of helicopters.
Yeah. Well, unless it's clear skies, You know,
I don't know.
If you can't see the world in front of you, don't get don't get in a plane. If for that matter, if you can't see what's going on around you, there's no point in jumping on the aircraft, man.
At least they got autopilot, and you can keep the thing moving. In a jet, helicopter, you're just straight to the ground if something bad happens.
Yeah, but even autopilot will autopilot adjust from hitting a mountain, or will it just alert you?
Good question. We need to get a pilot on the podcast.
We need to get a pilot.
So
hold on.
If you are a pilot...
I know a pilot. Let me see what he's doing.
Look at Chris.
Like legit.
This is how these things happen, ladies and gentlemen. We just start talking, and strange things happen. Somebody knows somebody.
Is this... Hey, Carl, what are you doing right now?
Carl. We're reaching out to Carl.
I know. Carl the pilot. He's also a realtor. I met him at a marketing shoot, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, and he's like, dude, you want to go to my plane? Let me know. I'm like, right on, dude. I haven't taken him on it, but now that we're sitting
here.
here.
What kind of plane does he have?
I don't know. It's I'm sure just a little flyer plane. This is Carl the realtor. And for those of you who can't see, I'm showing a picture of a human wearing a gray suit jacket with a white shirt.
Fella.
Dapper, very dapper.
You like that? Dapper?
I don't know what nationality Carl is, but he kind of looks like somebody from the Middle East, I want to say, but I don't want to say that in a negative way. Oh, there's Carl. Hey, dude.
He's got a full head of hair.
He does. Hey, so we're on my podcast right now, and we just started talking about flying in helicopters and planes and shit. You want to jump on our show and have a conversation? This is like real raw, relevant.
This is as real, raw, and relevant as you get. It's almost as good as somebody calling in.
Right. We'll see what he says. He's like, I'm just working from home, man. Let's find out if Carl wants to come on the show.
That would be awesome.
That would be fun. So he even has his notification silenced, and he still answered my notification, which is cool.
You would be one of the people that would get through on my phone too.
Oh,
actually, on Do Not Disturb you are, because you're in my favorites list, and those are the only people that can get through.
He thumbed up the message, boys and girls. So let's see what he's got the little thought bubbles going on right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try and get a pilot live right here in the middle of this podcast. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm down. Like, just call in. Give me your email address, and I'll share the link with you right now.
This is the way we put these shows together, ladies and gentlemen. You are seeing it right here in action.
You do it on your laptop or desktop as long as you have a webcam and a microphone. We're good to go, man.
Yeah, because we know he has a good internet connection. He's working from home.
And he's a realtor. He's in my industry. That's
Gotta
all
have
about.
A good real estate connection.
And
real estate connection. Got to have a good internet connection.
And he flies. He's a pilot. And this is good timing, too, because then you guys can
we'll take care of you while you go do your thing, man.
When I go drop the thing in the dealio. So let's see if he's thinking.
I think I've earned my wings. I can get along without you now, Dad.
You can get along out with.
And ladies and gentlemen, he knows I mean that on some level.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. How do I get his email off my is he? I thought he was an iPhone, but I guess he's not. Okay.
Yeah, so I learned something. We got to make sure that if they're on an iPhone, what do they call that? Landscape it, not portrait.
Yes.
Because Lemoyne started out landscaped, and then he must have dropped his phone and he portraited it on me, and that makes it look weird in the background. No
what I'm
offense if
saying
he
is
wasn't in Lemoyne. It's okay.
Yeah, nothing but love, brother.
We worked it out, but for future reference.
Invitation sent.
Ask Chris, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a stickler for details.
Yeah. Check your email, Carl. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He was a nice guy.
That's awesome.
Oh, fuck me, Nikki. Ann Burrell died.
Who's Ann Burrell?
Ann Burrell died. Sorry, that was loud.
Who's
Ann Burrell? Ann Burrell. Food Network.
Oh, yeah, now I recognize her.
Yeah, Food Network.
What
Holy
year was
shit.
she born?
69. She's dude. She's as old as I am.
That's not good.
That is not good. Wow.
Yeah, now I recognize her. Absolutely.
Channel 3. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow up the podcast.
No, that's. I know exactly who she is now that you showed me a picture of her.
Wow, that's terrible. There he is. There's Carl Pereira.
And this
Hello,
is how
Carl.
we make things happen, ladies and gentlemen. Just like that. Welcome, Carl. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome. That was impromptu.
Dude, that's like, well, we had
So
a
cool.
guest coming on that had to reschedule, and I had a friend of mine. I was like, dude, what are you doing tomorrow? And he obviously got busy with day, and then so Mike and I were talking about Waylon Jennings and Stevie Ray Vaughan, or not Waylon Jennings, Buddy Holly, Stevie Ray Vaughan crashing, and then I brought up Kobe Bryant, and then Mike's like, I wish we had a pilot. And I'm like, hey.
Yeah,
I know a pilot.
Yeah, we're two morons here talking about, hey, you can do this and that with a plane. I'm like, really? I don't know what you can and can't do with the plane. And he's like, I know a pilot.
There
So
you go.
thank you so much, Carl. That's awesome.
Carl, this is Mike. Mike,
Yeah,
this
of
is
course.
Carl. Welcome
Very
to the
nice to
Chris
meet
and
you.
Mike
Hey, Mike.
show. You're live with us on YouTube because when we do this, it's live on YouTube. This is like our 109th episode, I think.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then we purpose it out. You'll be on here a couple weeks later. We'll drop you all the links and stuff. You can share them. So
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, like you
That's-
said, we were going to have a guest, and then we kind of started stumbling our way through the beginning of this and talking about planes. And he says, I know a pilot. I'm going to
Yeah.
text him, see what he's doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is so funny.
yeah, and then I still had your picture in our thread. So I introduced you to the world like this. This is Carl. This is Carl the realtor.
I look a lot better in that picture than I do.
And it was like he's very dapper. I'm like, I'm not sure where you're from. Where you're
I
from?
said you
but
look
you
very
know.
dapper, and you got a full head of hair, man. So you're doing all right, buddy.
I
Chris and I are
appreciate you
both
guys.
bald as a cue ball.
Well, who knows? Who knows? We did it. We were at a marketing shoot for a title with the title rep we know, and so we were filming. Jason and I were filming this thing that I had dreamed up. You know, you've all seen the commercials about pharmaceuticals, right? Like,
Oh, for
you know,
sure.
the side effects of Viagra, you know, da 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 da. So we did the side effects of not working with a realtor.
Yeah, that was perfect. That was so good.
Yeah. So Carl was there, and he kind of was gracious enough to kind of be involved a little bit, and we had to get him out and get pictures taken and stuff. So it was kind of fun. Yeah, so
Hey,
there
can
you
you
go.
turn
But
the
then,
volume up just a smidge, Carl?
Oh, my volume?
Yeah.
Oh,
just
like
a
my
hair.
there we go.
Mic volume.
You
you
guys hear
got
that
you got
back?
some facial hair now. You grew a beard.
I know that takes like comes in every 3 days, you know, then I gotta shave it.
Does it really? You can grow a beard in 3 days?
Like this beard, yeah, like
Yeah.
2-3 days,
Wow.
yeah.
That's insane, man.
Ever
Mine
since
doesn't
6th
take very
grade.
long either.
Yeah. No.
That's the only
mine
place
would,
I can grow hair.
yeah,
face.
mine would come in, but I don't think it would come in that quick in 3 days. So,
Well, what were you guys talking about? Yeah.
Well, when we first
Okay.
started this show, it was just he and I kind of bullshit
So-
conversations, and we've grown. So
I
you
actually
tell-
remember
take
your
it
last
away.
question. So Chris's last
Okay.
question that inspired him to text you was, if you're on a commercial jet and there's no pilot and you're relying on autopilot, does
Mm-hmm.
it account for like a mountain? You know, say you're flying at the same level as a mountain. Would it account for that mountain and adjust?
Yeah, there's terrain. Yeah, avoidance.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, like when you fly to like, I mean, I'm not super well versed on jets because I haven't flown them yet, but like there's a thing called like a Cat 3 approach, I believe, and you can fly all the way down to the runway. And so there's some kind
Really?
of device that measures the distance
what
from
I
the
thought.
base of the airplane to the ground, so it even knows like when to flare and everything. And then even on the smaller airplanes, depending on what kind of GPS you have, there's terrain avoidance. So you pay your yearly subscription and it uploads the map, and you'll have terrain and collision avoidance. So
Okay, so
Yeah.
did Kobe Bryant just not pay to have that terrain when he took off in the helicopter on the foggy day in L.A.?
Helicopters are different. That's where we're going to go. What do you know
Oh.
about helicopters? Anything?
I don't know too much, but I did look into that incident. Yeah, because that was I don't think that company was actually supposed to fly in mount obscurement. So
The same thing happened to Stevie Ray Vaughan, that the company violated that or I think you have to have a rating for that.
he had a rating. The pilot was actually like pretty experienced, which is like surprising that would happen. But I think I think there was like external pressure. So as pilots, we always have like certain checklists, like personal minimums, and so there's a thing called external pressures, and usually, if you have celebrities or high net worth individuals that are pressuring you to go, when maybe it's against company policy or something, it seemed that might have been
when Chris
a
Dunham
situation
wants
there.
to go and he calls you up, you got to move. Like now, we
Yeah,
don't care
I mean,
what
getting
the
on this
weather. Yeah.
podcast was like external pressure.
Dude, that's the coolest. That's the coolest
That
thing,
was
Carl. Because
That was
legit,
great.
we just met and kind of hung out for an hour, and then he's cool. He's a cool dude. 'Cause he's like, hey, if you want to go on my plane, man, let me know. And I was like, all right, that's cool.
Dude,
And
I
then
thought
it
that's what
just-
you were hitting me up for
I
right
figured. I figured. I figured.
I was like,
But
okay.
It's too hot now, though.
We
You
can
know.
go at 6 o'clock. It's a lot nicer.
Okay, okay, that's cool, man. But-
This
yeah,
is
so that's
awesome.
but so now you're on the show for at least until we're done. So you're just stuck with
Oh,
us.
okay.
So
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna go do my irrigation thing. So you guys talk. I'll be back.
Yeah, so those were the two big issues that we brought up as far as he was feeling like. I think what his argument was you were in the same amount of danger in a helicopter as you were in a plane, and I'm like, no way, dude. I mean, I'm a moron I don't know how to fly a plane or a helicopter, but I watch enough documentaries to know that if shit hit the fan, it seems like you would be pretty safe in a commercial jetliner if somebody was.
Oh,
You know-
totally incapacitated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where
so
we're
you would
at.
have to load the approach, and I think you would have a better chance of doing that, like if ATC was guiding you through it, or if they had like a pilot like guiding you through that.
Yeah, like
Um,
if you phoned or radioed into the tower and had somebody tell you step by step what you should do, and you were smart enough to push the right buttons or whatever. Would
Yes,
an average
yes.
person be able to walk their way through it with somebody experienced telling them what to do? I guess was my question.
I believe so, because yeah, they have something called the FMS, which is like a flight management system, I think. And so literally when you get your clearance, you plug everything into the FMS, and then unless there's like an amendment or something, you change it on the FMS. But I know typically, like, unless it's like a really, really bad weather day, and like both the airport has to have the equipment and your plane has to have the equipment, like I think most airline pilots disengage the autopilot at 500 feet and they hand fly it down. Yeah, but if it's one of those 0-0 mins where it's like the plane has to go all the way down and you can't see the runway till you actually touch down, I think I think to my understanding the airport has to have that equipment, and then your airplane also has to have that equipment in order to fly that approach. So, I guess technically it could, but like I don't think every single airport is equipped for that. So like, say if you're flying to Sky Harbor, I don't think you can fly. I don't know. I haven't done this yet. Maybe you
Jesus.
can.
I think they would probably, if you had enough fuel, they would probably divert you to Los Angeles, because I think Sky Harbor is one of the harder airports to fly into, because you got to drop down so fast, coming over the mountains.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard that, but they usually fly the visual. So I mean, because we barely have weather here, so like once they have the airport in sight, they clear you for the visual. Then I think pretty much they hand fly the plane down, and it's pretty easy going. But
I came from Illinois. I lived out there from 1993 until 2009. Chris was the singer in a band called Nemesis for quite a few years in the mid 90s. That's how we know each other. I met him at a
cool.
Candlebox concert, and we put a band together, and we had a development deal with Metal Blade, and
oh wow,
opened up for Pat Travers and Sacred Reich and Seven Dust and Armored Saint and all kinds of Metal Blade bands back in the day.
okay.
So that's
Yeah, I
how
noticed
know
the amp
him.
on your desk there.
Yeah, this is crazy, man. The amount of sounds, I think I've talked about this on the show, but this amp is probably $200. A friend of mine's just letting me borrow it for giving him lessons, but the amount of
nice.
sounds that you can get out of this thing for $200, $300 now would have cost you probably, I don't know, $15,000-$20,000, and it would have been a huge rack system that, 3 guys would have had to move to make it.
Isn't that
It's just
amazing?
crazy how far technology's come, man.
Oh,
love
I
this
know.
thing.
Even like 15 years ago, because I played in a band in college, and I still play in a
Awesome.
band
What'd
now.
you play?
I
Or what
play
do you play?
rhythm guitar and lead vocals, but we do
Awesome.
now we do like country and classic rock is mainly our deal.
What's
But
wrong with that?
but yeah, like when we were trying to record even 10 or 15 years ago, like the advancement in equipment now and the quality of sound you can get from your desktop is just like insane. Like,
Yeah, I have this MacBook Pro that I bought to do the podcast, and a producer friend of mine that lives in Georgia, he kind of helped me. This is still a makeshift setup. I'm having a custom desk built, and then I'm going to turn this thing the other direction. But the amount of tracks that you can get out of this MacBook Pro is insane. I've never found the end, you know?
and did you have to upgrade your Mac, or is it just whatever standard?
No, this thing's just the way I bought the best one they had. Believe me when I tell you this is the most expensive piece in the studio
Oh, okay,
by
okay.
a landslide. And I
So the
wanted it
computing
that
power
way.
is pretty good. But
It's
yeah,
a,
it's still unbelievable what you can do in a box now.
yeah, like when I boot this thing up, so like we usually start, I meet him on here at like 10 to 5. At 4:49, I'll open my Mac, and it takes about, I don't know, 35 seconds from the time you open it till the time you put your password in. I mean, you remember the days when you would wait, like you would start your computer, go take a shower, come back, and you knew that everything had gotten going enough to where you could actually sit down and work.
Yeah.
That's the generation I come from.
No, yeah. Then even like I remember summers where we would playing games online and stuff, and I would have to dial up the network and take five
Sure.
minutes to connect to the internet just to play a game of mini golf on the computer. I was like,
So frustrating. And then even when it got to the point where, like, I got in a car accident in 1998, and I was, recovering and not able to move around a lot, so I started playing one of those massive, whatever they call them, MMORG, or what, I don't know. They got a bunch of, like, one of those fantasy role-playing kind of
oh yeah, yeah,
medieval kind of shit,
yeah, yeah.
EverQuest is what it was called.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then I think people got addicted to the next big one was World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, yeah, that's
That
the
took
one.
off all over. But
Right,
EverQuest
right.
was one of the first ones. And
So people that are into those games are pretty smart, right?
usually, yeah.
Yeah.
It just takes over your life, though, man. It's amazing. Like, to think of it now, all the time I wasted playing that stupid fucking game. I should have been sitting there playing my guitar more,
Well, I think like Elon Musk and stuff, like those strategy games, like there's like a connection between that and like entrepreneurs and stuff.
It does
Uh,
help keep your mind, because you're always thinking about your next move and upgrading your character. And, I'll agree with you. There's a lot of advantages to it, but I just think there's far more disadvantages. You could be doing the same thing playing a musical instrument. You know that. You're a
Sure.
musician, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So a lot of those things are excuses for not using your full potential. We talk about that ad nauseum on this podcast because we have a lot of life coaches and stuff like that, and I enjoy it because I need to hear it too. I always say that people that are listening need to hear it, but I'm careful to say I need to hear it too. Everybody does. We all do. We're guilty of becoming lackadaisical and just getting caught in our routines and making excuses for, oh, well, I'm watching educational television. I say that to myself all the time, right? That's
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
know about planes, and a little bit about helicopters, very little. But I know way more about planes, which is why him and I never get in arguments. I just started laughing. I'm like,
Debates.
of course you know a pilot.
That's so funny. I like saw his text. I'm like, what is this about? I'm like, but what do you find like is the biggest struggle right now with the new technology? Like what do you struggle with?
Just the addiction, man. Like, here's the example I use. You walk in a restaurant. I try and, go out to lunch with my mom as often as I can. We'll walk in, and you look around the restaurant as they're going to seat you, and if there's 8 people sitting at a table, a lot of times all 8 of them are on their phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one thing that when I'm out in public, I'm conscious of who I'm with and whether they're going to be offended by that, So, like,
Sure.
if my mom's on her phone, I'll be on my phone while she's on her phone. But
Yeah.
if she wants my attention, she gave birth to me. She kept me alive for 18 years. I owe her at least that, right? I can
Yeah.
focus enough to have a conversation at lunch. But what I see is, how old are you? Just out of curiosity.
I'm 36.
Okay, so people your age definitely grew up with technology, right? So your whole life has basically been encompassed by a phone, a computer of some sort.
Yeah.
In people your age, don't you see that a lot where their attention is sucked into their phone, especially in a social setting where they're not talking to each other, they're looking at their phone?
I think so. I think I don't know, maybe it's just my circle of friends, but I think we're a little bit more cognizant of it now, like, or even find relief that we can like not be on our phones because
Because
like
obviously you set your life up in your mind that way. You're a musician, you're a pilot, you're obviously an intelligent individual who is driven and wants to, be active. And so you're the exception to the rule. I'm the exception to the rule. Chris is the exception to the rule in that we go over and above what's required of us on a daily basis. Most people don't do that.
yeah, possibly. Like for instance, when I go golfing, I never want to be on my phone. I mean, that is the time to like not be even on your phone, to just like chill out with friends and stuff like that. Obviously, in an airplane, you don't want to be on the phone when you're on
Right.
flying an airplane. But I noticed like everything that I do, like the most enjoyable hobbies, keep you in the present. So like playing live music, right? Like you're in the present. Flying an airplane, you pretty much have to stay in the present. Golfing, I just like to be in the present. Like so anything that really forces you to be in the present, I find. And then when I'm scrolling away on my bed or something, like brain rot at night, I just like kind of feel like shit.
I just had that conversation with a lady I work with today. I told myself, put your phone down. It's enough of that shit. It's time to go to bed.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
literally, this is how psycho I am in my brain. 22 minutes later, I know exactly how long it was because I looked at the clock when I said, okay, that's enough of that shit. And
Yeah.
when I scolded myself, I knew what time it was then. It was 22 minutes later. I'm like, son of a bitch, man. Like, stop doing that shit.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
get sucked down a rabbit hole. It's like, oh, I just got to learn one more thing.
Yeah, and I have my wife put my screen time password, so I don't know it. So I have to force her to put the password in if I need
like
more time.
that. That's
So
awesome.
because I originally I was just putting in my password, but it got to the point where I just ignore it, put in my password and ignore it, and it was just becoming subconscious. I was like, oh, there's no point to the screen time password. So she has my password now, and that helps a lot. Yeah. Chris, we were just talking about how technology, like how it's kind of ruined us a little bit. It's very helpful, but
It's because this is cool because Mike's in Illinois. I'm in what?
Well-
Ohio Road, Chandler, and you're where, Carl?
He was
I'm in
just
Gilbert.
finishing.
Okay,
yeah,
Gilbert,
so
yeah.
he
Yeah.
was just finishing that thought, and that's exactly what I was going to say, Carl. Now, here is an example of Chris and I using technology to our advantage, right? Now
Yeah.
we're doing something productive. We're
Right.
putting hopefully a quality product out there. I just got told again today, Mr. Dunham, that we have a very good podcast. Thoroughly enjoyed it to a new listener, or from a new listener. So
Right on. Did you tell Carl how many countries we're in?
18 countries, Carl.
Are you
18
serious?
countries.
Yeah, for real.
Are you in Malaysia? That's where I'm from.
Yes.
Oh,
We
really?
actually are, I believe. Yeah.
Oh,
I will tell you in about 2 seconds.
okay. Yeah, I was
That
born in
sounds
Malaysia.
familiar.
So, and now you can call your family, hey, in X days, I'm going to be on a podcast. You should join and listen
Yeah,
on
even
Spotify.
if we're not there, they can listen.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
We've
yeah,
grown the whole thing. We've grown the whole thing organically, man. We've not spent any money like generating followers and shit. We've gone from like 28,000 in March to we're close to 100,000 views.
Philippines. I take that back.
close enough.
Yeah. So,
I
yeah.
Cousins.
fly my plane from there.
How close is the Philippines to Malaysia?
That's
close.
pretty close. It's probably like,
Okay.
yeah, if you're taking an airliner, probably within an hour.
Big old jet airliner.
Yeah, there you go, Steve Miller Band.
There you. Ooh, Carl with the knowledge. Boom.
Good
Only
job.
because my band asked me to do that song.
Your band? You're in a
Yeah.
band?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a little cover band.
Okay.
Chris, you're gonna have to come and watch us someday.
Okay. I did not know that, dude.
I didn't know you were in a band either. Mike was just
yeah.
telling me.
Oh, yeah. Been there,
We
done
got
that
on that
last.
subject.
Yeah. I'm on iTunes from the last band I was in.
Oh, cool.
North Sturgis tour in 2008. So yeah,
Oh, very nice.
He
Was
went
on
to
the
Nashville
radio.
and recorded.
Yeah, was on the radio.
Wow.
Real Talk USA with the real estate guy for a year. Did Good News Arizona, 106 episodes of that, was the mastermind behind that show. And then here we are with the Chris and Mike show, which I wanted to name it the Mike Michael Show, but he forced Chris and Mike upon me.
Good News Arizona, the Channel 3? Or
That's
that
the
a
biggest
true story?
misconception. People think it's Channel 3, but it was when COVID hit, 2 weeks into COVID, I was tired of all the nonsense. So I was like, reached out to my friend Dean Naughton. I was like, dude, let's do a show called Good News Arizona and just focus on all the good. So
okay.
we did. And I still get people reaching out to me. Like it was cool, man. It was a good thing. It hit its stride about 2 months in, and you know, just kind of took off. We had a lot of our episodes we did live were 11,000 plus viewers and stuff. It was pretty legit.
Wow, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
They had some legit guests too, like he had the
Gene Simmons, Michael Bruce,
original guitar player for Alice Cooper, Michael Bruce.
right? We were actually in the studio with him. We had personal trainers on. We had, I mean, just I could go Butch Patrick from the Munsters, Eddie Munster.
Okay.
Soup Nazi, no soup for you. Just all kinds of
Can you
cool
see that
people.
graphic in the background, Carl?
I can actually some of it's blocked by you guys.
Oh, it just says that it's a top 10 Phoenix podcast. That's also a true story. He didn't just put that on there.
Number
okay.
three.
We
Number
earned that
three
badge.
now.
We're number three in
now. Yeah.
In your metro area there.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
pretty
cool.
cool, man.
I had no idea what I was walking into, guys. It was just-
That's just. But you're a realtor, man, so you get it. So you know we don't know what we're walking to
Andy's a
daily.
musician.
I just say yes.
Yeah, exactly. And a musician. What do you play? What's the music? What instrument?
I play rhythm guitar, acoustic, and then I
Okay.
do main vocals. So we do country, a lot of George Strait. I like Keith Urban.
All
band.
my exes live in Texas.
I like George Strait.
We do The Fireman by George Strait. We do Alan Jackson. Yeah, stuff like that.
Cool.
Then we do CCR. Yeah.
Oh,
There
so
you
you
go.
just hit the button there. Mike loves
Oh, yeah.
CCR.
One of my favorites,
Okay.
man.
So where's your next
One of the
gig?
greatest bands ever.
Well, we usually play 2 to 3 times a month at the Social Birdie at Las Colinas Golf Course in Queen Creek.
Okay.
It's they revamped that whole restaurant, and but now during the summer they don't do any shows during the summer because it's so hot because it's outdoors. So we'll pick it back up in October. But
Okay. Well, yeah. When you get around to playing, let me know, and the wifey and I will come out and check.
Oh
it out.
yeah, it'd be great. It's a great date night spot too.
Right
And
on.
everybody in Phoenix, head out and see Carl play, please.
Yeah, Social
Yeah.
Birdie. Yeah, there we
Put it
go.
on your
Great bands.
calendar. We're giving you plenty of notice, man. It's June. He's going to be in there in
October.
October.
Yes.
So, you know, come on. What did you guys chat about while I was doing my irrigation?
Well, somehow I figured I owed him how I knew you because he told me how he knew you.
Right.
So we talked about the band, and then somehow
Okay.
that led into me playing EverQuest after I got in my car accident, and that's how we started talking about technology either being helpful or harmful. And I said,
Right.
when I walk in a restaurant,
Yeah.
I'll see 8 people sitting at a table, and no shit, a lot of times all 8 people are buried in their phone.
Yeah.
Like you, I can't imagine that 2 people wouldn't talk to each other.
Yeah. No,
I
that's
just
bizarre.
went to the casino with 2 of my friends last Saturday, and there wasn't one time that all 3 of us were sitting there on our phone. 2 of us were always talking to each other. You know.
Yeah.
Usually
Yeah.
it was all 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for
can't-
Carl and I, that's I mean, our life is attached to that, unfortunately, because back in when I got
It's
into real
different
estate,
when
it
you're
was,
working. You
Right.
don't do that when you're
Right.
sitting there
Well-
with Nikki at dinner, do you?
No.
No,
That's
but
what I'm
but
talking about.
But I think it
Yeah.
caused an addiction because like everything's an opportunity. So like
yeah.
now you almost feel like you're missing an opportunity, and then it
Right.
just gets built into your DNA, which is terrible.
Okay, then let me ask you both this same question.
Okay.
We'll start with Carl. Are you married?
Okay.
Yes.
Remember his wife.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
My wife.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, Carl's wife.
Yeah.
Give her a
Hi,
shout out.
Carl's wife. So you're
She's my-
sitting there with
yeah.
what's her name?
Oh, Mari.
Mari?
Mari,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Mari. Hello,
Carl
Mari.
and Mari are having a nice dinner out on a Saturday night, and your
Mm-hmm.
phone goes off, and it could be business. What does Carl do?
No, I do put mine on sleep on no
Silent.
notifications. So unless the number's saved in my phone, it'll ring.
I
And then if it's usually somebody I know, like my family member, I'll just send it to voicemail.
I noticed you had Do Not Disturb on, but you still responded to me, so that was kind of cool.
he did comment on
I was
that.
just sitting on my phone.
Yeah, no, but legit, dude. The beginning of the show, we talk about the fact that we had somebody had to reschedule, which I knew ahead of time. Then I had a buddy coming on, but he texted me since, and he just got tied up, unfortunately. So we organically I text you on the show. I'm like,
That's
I know a
crazy.
pilot. I know a pilot. And
Yeah,
See how it is?
literally
I was plan B. No, just kidding.
you were plan C actually,
Oh,
but
it's even worse.
but
Thanks.
but it turned out to
came
be
up,
the best option, I think.
but it turned out organically because again, it took me talking about when the music died, which was we started talking about Waylon Jennings because I started singing Waylon Jennings, and then just kind of and it went there to the pilot thing because then Mike referenced Stevie Ray Vaughan and how Eric Clapton was supposed to be on that helicopter and he wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then I referenced the Kobe Bryant thing, and then we talked about the hill, and that's where I kind of thought about it. Mike's like, "Oh, a pilot," and I was like, "I know a pilot."
It is pretty
So
crazy.
don't feel bad. You were the first pilot I thought of.
Yes.
So, you know, I know another one, but he flies those big. He like legit flies for, oh God,
United or
Southwest, I
something?
think now.
Oh, so he'd probably be more well versed on that Cat 3.
But he
you
probably
answered
wouldn't
all
have.
my questions.
Then he probably wouldn't have been available, man, because I would
Yeah,
have been
that's
like
true.
Aaron, and
And you
was
legit
probably-
answered all our questions. Those were the
Yeah,
questions we
that's
had. Would
awesome.
you be safer in a helicopter or a commercial airliner? And it's 100% a commercial airliner.
I've never been in a helicopter, and the other thing helicopters have to look out for is power lines because they're flying so low. You know, like we don't have to worry too much about that unless we have an emergency situation where we have to do an off-site landing. But yeah, the helicopters have to constantly think about power lines because they're very like when you're moving that fast, you don't see them, and so yeah.
Here's a question then, since you're a pilot. Right now, it seems to be like an abnormal amount of planes are falling from the sky.
Good question.
Yeah.
Is that true, or is it just us? Or all of a sudden the media is just focusing on plane crashes? Because legit, it seems like every day a plane
Look
is
who's
falling
calling
from the
me,
sky.
Chris. Jason. Jason. Does he listen to this podcast?
Text him and tell him to go on YouTube, the Chris and Mike Show. He'll see us.
Really? Does
Yeah,
he know?
we're live
this?
on YouTube. We're live on. He knows. I've invited him a couple times.
Oh, okay.
We're live.
So what I
you'll
think
find me there.
Yeah.
what I think it is with the airplane stuff is like the first U.S. commercial airline crashed in Washington, right? And then ever
Right.
since then, there's been like a magnifying glass on
Yeah.
airplane incidents. That like I was actually working like while I was doing my commercial ratings last year at Beauregard Flight School, and then there was that mid-air collision at Tucson. I don't think that collision would have ever made the news if it wasn't for that Washington crash, just the month prior, because everything was just so hyper focused on airplanes now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit of that. I actually looked up like the stats of 2024 year to date compared to 2025, and actually there was less crashes this year than there were in last year, the previous year.
So
6 months
that's
over
but
6
that's
months.
What's that?
yeah.
6 months over 6 months, or
Yeah, year to date. Yeah.
Year
So
to
I
date.
compared it
Okay,
because
I
I'm
thought
like,
that's
is
what
this
you
like
said.
unusual? Like we're hearing about it so much.
I never thought about the
yeah.
media with like the dog with a bone angle, and they are like that a lot, right?
Yeah, they like to
Yeah.
sensationalize it, and fear
Yes.
causes views, and
Yes.
unfortunate.
So we actually have less planes that have fallen out of the sky so far in 2025 than we did in 2024 for the same length of time.
Yes, the caveat is
Okay.
that there's more because of that. That was U.S.'s first, since 2009 commercial accident with fatalities.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was why it was like, I mean, there's more commercial fatalities this year because it was the first one since 2009
Okay.
as far as U.S. crashes go. So I
Now,
think that's what caused it. Yeah.
Okay. So are you a flight nerd? Do you go in and research that stuff? What'd you say, Mike?
There's
See it, Mike?
somebody behind you.
Thank you. Good job.
I saw him. I just saw their yellow shirt.
Amazon.
This is a running theme on this
is a running
podcast,
theme.
Carl.
Yeah.
I cannot let him get killed by the UPS guy. Or if it doesn't happen to be the UPS guy, it could be a serial killer.
Right.
true.
So I text ADHD. I text Jason for you, Carl. I said you can find Carl here and send him a link. And he's like,
Good.
yo.
I didn't even text him yet, so I'm glad you did
So
that.
he's like, yo, I don't know how I missed your podcast text. I'd love to be a guest and assistant any way I can. I'm sorry for the delay. Jason's the guy that he's a title rep, that marketing rep that helps us market and stuff. He's a cool guy.
Awesome, man.
Very
You'd
cool
be a
guy.
Good
Yeah.
guest.
That's funny. That's funny.
He would
Yeah,
be. He
just-
used to be a model. So
and an actor, yeah.
and an actor, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
We've had some great
What were-
guests, man.
What were we talking about for my squirrel moment?
Am I a flight nerd?
Oh
That's
yeah. So
Yes.
like when that crashed in Washington, did you like dive into the research and the all the stuff?
Yeah, I mean, because even at Chandler Airport, right? Like the difference between us and Washington was that you don't see a military helicopter on your iPad. Like, you don't see that traffic on there because
Right.
they're not required to be on
Yeah.
there. Um, with us, we can see the helicopters on our iPad. However,
Okay.
there's been a lot of close calls that even at Chandler, because our traffic patterns are very tight, like very close to each other. They're
So
slightly off.
helicopters take out of Chandler too,
Oh
or
yeah.
just
Oh, a
planes?
lot of helicopter
Really?
training out of
Oh, I
Chandler.
didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
What's your flight rating? So what kind of planes are you flying?
so right now I own a little Cessna, but I last year I got my commercial rating in multi-engine, so I can be paid to fly multi-engine aircraft now. And so now it's really just
Explain to our
Yeah.
viewers what a multi-engine aircraft is.
Yes.
oh yeah, so you have single engine ratings, which is
Right.
one engine on the airplane, usually at the nose
Prop
of the
in the front?
aircraft. Yeah, prop in the front, and then multi-engine. There's a lot of different flight characteristics, but there's usually a engine on each wing. So you have a left and
Oh.
right engine, and the difference
Okay.
is it can be a little bit more dangerous. You would think having two engines is more safe, but if you don't know what you're doing in a multi-engine, if one fails and you over control or don't control the airplane enough, it can actually do this flat spin kind of thing and kill you faster.
Oh.
So
Is that
um,
what happened to Goose?
Oh.
so yeah, so you have to be
Top
trained
Gun?
on how to fly a multi-engine, especially in emergency situations where one engine goes dead. And that's why airlines are pretty much safe because if you have a bird strike in one engine, most likely
Right.
you didn't bird strike both engines unless you're Sully. They're still looking into what happened at Air India there because
Yeah.
they're not
That's
really
a
sure.
trip.
Let me ask
Yeah.
you
One
this,
person
Carl.
lived.
What
Yeah.
happened to that flight that disappeared, MH370?
Oh, I think I know.
Tell me.
Oh, this is
I gotta know. Breaking news.
This is like breaking news on the Chris and Mike show.
So yeah. So my cousin's husband flies for Malaysia Air. Used to.
Oh, no
Used to.
shit.
He was a
This is
he was a
crazy.
captain on Malaysia, and he was friends with
Okay.
that guy. He was friends with that guy.
Oh, really?
No.
Wow.
You
pretty
have
good
gotta
friends.
be
That's
kidding me.
awesome.
No,
I'm so glad I asked this question.
and so, well, the media kind of, and if you looked at, I don't know if you guys watched that Netflix documentary, but they kind of
of
pinned
course
it
I
on the
did.
captain. You know,
Yes.
they said he was having marital problems, he was
Yes.
depressed, and like flew that flight in this flight simulator or whatever.
Yep.
So me and my wife went to Malaysia last summer. I took her for the first time, and I was talking to my cousin's husband, and he's like the only people that confiscated that flight simulator was the Malaysian government. He's like nobody cross-checked the information on that flight simulator. So
No shit.
whatever they said goes essentially. And Malaysia Air, I mean, that's like a government subsidized airline, right? Like, so like they need to protect their reputation and whatnot. But it went missing kind of by Diego Garcia military island, which is a U.S. owned military island.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Diego Garcia?
I only
No,
know
I'm
because
not familiar with Diego
I only know
Garcia.
because of this incident.
Yeah. So the plane kind of went missing around there.
Correct.
And
enough.
and my dad's company that he worked for is Freescale, and there was like 20 top execs at Freescale on that plane. And,
Oh.
and there was
Never
like
interested.
there was a patent pending
Oh.
technology that there were maybe multi governments wanted. So
Oh,
so wouldn't it
These
be
are all
convenient that Obama
So
met
this-
met with
okay.
with Malaysia government quite frequently
Okay.
during that time, which is quite unusual. And then the
Okay.
plane goes missing, and then those execs are on there, and everybody disappears. And then a month later, Malaysia Airlines gets shot down by a Ukrainian missile or a Russian missile.
Right. With
So-
some
so-
more
so-
scientists or some shit on there like that too, right? Wasn't there like some top?
On that flight, see, I'm not too sure, but it is kind of weird that like there was no wreckage found from the MH370, and then all of a
Not-
sudden there's wreckage from the missile that shot down the other plane. And some theories are like, oh, that might be the same. They might be covering up the wreckage of that plane with the wreckage of the original crash.
They
So
say
we
there's
think- so
only
we-
they
so
say
we
there's
think
only
that- yeah.
two times that a plane of that size has just disappeared off the face of the earth because Carl knows better than we do, but
Yeah.
we know well enough, Chris Dunham. The governments of every world know where every plane is at all times. You have
and
to.
Australia poured a ton of money into that investigation. But what if it was a multi-government cover-up? Because
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So the
you
two
know.
times that a plane of that size has just disintegrated into basically nothing is that and the Pentagon.
Is Russia
Right,
part of
'cause that's-
NATO?
Is who?
Russia part of NATO?
They're not.
They're not,
were,
right?
though.
So
no.
all of a sudden they shoot down Malaysia. Maybe in retaliation they don't get that
They
technology.
hate NATO. That's the whole Ukrainian war.
So
debacle.
you opened the door. You unlocked the door I wanted to open, Mike, about the Pentagon, because
I have many keys.
the plane that hit the Pentagon. Like, I've always kind of questioned that. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist on a lot of things, but
Some of them are true.
that one is. I mean, what do you think about that, Carl? That plane that hit the Pentagon completely disintegrating? Because I've seen video. Because you see videos all over the place now where it looks like a missile going into the Pentagon. Because
And
it's
there's
flying,
no
like, on the
there's no
ground.
wreckage that was found in the Pentagon.
There's power lines still intact. Like, how
Okay.
did the wings not take out all those power
Well,
lines?
isn't it
on
interesting
its
that
way
the Air
down?
India
right.
plane crashed into the side of a building and the building's still standing and the back of the plane is still intact
Right.
and it's Indian construction.
Correct.
Like,
Thank you.
I mean, Indians are my people. I mean, I'm half Indian.
He can say it. Yeah, that's why I said thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Okay.
it is what
I
it
just
is.
think it's all kind of strange. The whole 9/11 thing
And
is
this-
a little strange to me.
That to me, because they built
yeah.
those towers. Because we've all watched the documentaries and that stuff. They built those towers to withstand that kind of impact. And then you have
It's
the
Yeah.
still
conspiracy
the only
theorists that
time
say
in
the-
recorded history that an
Right.
airliner has hit a skyscraper,
Right.
and the skyscraper disintegrated.
Yeah.
I wonder if you interviewed
Yeah.
America, what percentage of people actually believe the story that was told to us? Because I almost
hope
think,
it's
I
zero
don't-
at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of them believe it. We should have asked. We've had people on here from Australia. We asked him what they think of Americans, which was fascinating because they actually embrace our culture and stuff, right? Like when I think Australian, I think shrimp on the bobby, Foster's for lager, right? Good day, mate, right? All that kind of funny stuff.
But there was one thing that he said about that I picked up on, Chris.
Yeah, yeah.
That he said there's as much, he appreciates the good that came out of the American culture.
Right.
But it's probably not known to the whole world, but I think it's pretty common knowledge that Australians are some of the nicest, most giving. Their culture, they take care of each other, right?
Yeah.
He said our culture is ruining that part. I picked
Yeah.
up on that. Did you hear
Yeah.
that?
I did.
I think
I
that's
did.
sad.
So you're Malaysian. Did you grow up in Malaysia or did you grow up in America, Carl?
I grew up in America. I was born in Malaysia, but we used to go back every summer for like 2-3 months at a time. So
that's
cumulatively, I spent probably 2-3
Okay.
years in Malaysia.
So what's the Malaysians' take on Americans? Because that fascinates me. Like, because we're in so many countries, we're trying to get people to come on from the other countries, but
Yeah.
language barrier and stuff.
So every
But
time I
what-
went back to Malaysia, like,
Yeah.
obviously I look somewhat Indian, but
Okay.
but they would detect my English accent. And I
Okay.
always noticed, like, if you're like a white person in Malaysia, like
Right.
you're treated off.
Really?
But apparently,
I'm
even if you
moving.
just sound like a white person, I just get
Really? Huh. That's interesting.
But now it's so westernized. It's so westernized. Like
Okay.
the world has really shrunk. I remember like when we first came to America, we had no clue what Halloween was, and my mom hid us in the bathroom
When did
because
you
there were
come
people
to
with masks
America?
at the door knocking on our door.
When did you come to America?
1990.
That's fantastic.
At what age?
I was 1. My brother was 5, and my mom was alone, in the whatever apartment we were having, and she
Right.
she was like freaking out, like we had no idea what Halloween was. But now like Halloween is like such a global thing, right?
Right.
Like,
That's
no.
crazy.
Hilarious.
Now put that in perspective. I just graduated high school in '89.
91.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
born in
So,
'89. So
there you go. Well, yeah, because you were 1 in '90.
So,
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
2 when I graduated.
Right. Oh, yeah, there you go.
91.
That's crazy, man.
yeah, so the culture shift is big in Malaysia, and
Yeah.
it is an Islam country, but it's not like 90% Islam like Afghanistan. So like it's Sharia law for Muslims, but it's not like applied to everybody.
Okay.
So if you're a woman and you're Christian, you can drink at the bar, but if
Oh.
you're Muslim, you're not supposed to be drinking at the bar.
Right.
Like
And the Muslims, and again, I'm a little ignorant about it. The women, the Muslim women that wear I forget what they call the stuff that
I think it's a
covers.
hajib.
Yeah, so all you see is their
Or a
eyes,
burqa.
nothing else.
That's all.
Yeah, well, in Malaysia, like they're not even required to do that. So you'll see some, but honestly, like it's not that many anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Malaysia's, and again, my ignorance with geography. Nikki just got this tapestry map of the world. She's like, "Oh, this will help you," but it's for her classroom. Malaysia's an Asian country, right?
Yeah, it's like Southeast Asia, kind of by Thailand, and
Okay.
Yeah.
So they speak Asian, or is there?
their country's language is Malay, Bahasa Malaya. So yeah, everybody's required to learn it if you're growing up there. But it was colonized by the English, so that's why the Indians were brought over by the British to run the railroads over there.
So do a lot of
everybody
people
speaks
speak
English
there?
Oh yeah, everybody
Really?
pretty much speaks English there. Yeah.
Okay.
But they do have some pretty harsh laws when it comes to like public intoxication, drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
right?
think drug use is definitely frowned upon. But public intoxication, I've seen that.
Really?
Have you seen that personally, Carl? Have you been looking in the cell phone camera?
Carl's like, I've been public intoxication.
But you know what's
right.
crazy? Malaysia, even though it's like a third world, or, I mean, it's not a third world country, but it's a developed country. But like you see more homeless people in America than you do in Malaysia. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Okay,
Like,
where did you go in Malaysia? Like, what were you in a small town, big city? Like, what kind of area?
So we grew like when I went to go back in the summers to visit my grandmother, we would go to Klang, which now Klang is a pretty it's like not the greatest area. But when I went back last summer, we would go visit these areas for family and stuff. But we stayed in like a more nicer place. Yeah.
Okay. So what size town was your grandmother from, population wise?
Oh, I don't know. Let me Google it. Klang, Malaysia.
Google machine. Google now. Is all your family in Malaysia? Do you have immediate family here now?
Now most of my mom's side is here.
Okay.
Wow, there's 1 million people in Klang.
Oh wow, so big city.
That's a big city, man.
Yeah.
Big city
but
nights.
yeah, my dad's side, still a lot of them are over there. So when we go over there, we visit all my dad's side, and but my mom's side migrated to Australia, Europe, America.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were trying to get us out of there as fast as possible.
Why was that? They just didn't like they didn't like the environment. They want you more opportunities in America.
More opportunities and less biases for sure.
Well, he said it. It is a third world country. I mean, they're
It's just
working their
developed,
way up, but
yeah. Do they have? You may not be able to answer this because you don't live there and stuff. But what would their opinion be? You think of the president of the United States at this moment in time?
I think
we're not getting political. It's just a general question.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of them listen to CNN or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
which kind of sucks, but it's I don't know. I don't know why. Like I don't. Yeah, but so I think their opinions are very. But I'm like, man, you guys actually need to live here.
What does Malaysia have? Is it a democracy? Like who's in charge?
They say it's a democracy, but even the last election, I mean. I don't know if we're too far away, but there was cars bringing in a bunch of ballots at the end, right? So a lot of that corruption's still there.
It's a little puppet regime.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If the opposition's winning, they'll find some way to keep the same people in power somehow.
Wow.
But
Is it president, king,
prime minister?
Prime Minister. Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like England, because that's how Australia is, right?
Yep.
They have the prime minister and
monarchy.
They still answer to Charles. So do you guys answer to Charles because you were developed by British, but no?
No. Now we have our own thing. And then Singapore used to be it used to be Malaya. The whole thing was Malaya. Then Malaysia separated from Singapore. Singapore has gone on to create a much larger economy than Malaysia. But they were part of the same thing at the same time. So you can drive to Singapore from Malaysia.
That's why I asked the question.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys, what kind of sports are played in Malaysia? Because we're educating the world. You're educating the world now, Carl. You're educating 19 countries, man. All about Malaysia.
18. I'm waiting for 19. Malaysia's going to be 19.
Yeah, you're gonna have your dad's side of the family listen to the show, and then Carl,
and then
boom,
hear that
we
third
got
world
19.
thing, and they'll be like, Carl, it's not third world.
Right. Then they'll send us a violent, a very harsh written email. And we're like,
we mean that in the nicest way possible, Malaysia. I hope to go
Google
there
says
one day.
no, Malaysia is not a third world.
Okay, it's a second world.
It's an upper middle income country.
Oh,
okay.
It's
Upper middle income.
considered developing apparently,
Gotcha.
I think I said that. They're working their way
You
up.
did say
Yeah.
that, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the
Yeah.
they used to have the tallest towers in the world, the Petronas Twin Towers.
That's
at one
right.
point. Then the
I
Burj
forgot
Khalifa
those
is
are
now
there.
the tallest, and now they've built another one, which now I think is the second tallest tower in the world.
Okay, let me go on record. I apologize, Malaysia. I forgot you had those badass buildings. They are spectacular. I
They are
apologize.
pros
you're
at
doing
building.
just fine. Rock on, Malaysia. There you go, Carl. You can tell your people to listen to us now.
Yeah.
No, I
yeah.
love Malaysia. I mean, my wife loved Malaysia. We were like, I was thinking, like, maybe I should go fly for Malaysian Airlines. A lot
see
of
the
thoughts
world.
ran through my head.
What's the climate? What's the climate like?
It's like Florida. It's very humid.
All the
Yeah.
time?
Pretty much all the time, yeah. So you'll
Okay.
get tropical storms and stuff. I think my
But there's
skin
no
likes the
season,
humidity.
so to speak.
No,
Okay.
no seasons. Yeah.
Very
You can go to a
Hawaii-like
higher
then?
elevation and it's a little bit cooler, but it's pretty much like Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Americanized restaurants like McDonald's and Arby's and Burger King and stuff
Oh,
over
yeah.
there? Okay.
Yeah, they even have
But they
Taco
have
Bell
actual
now.
real food. Really? But they have real food, right? Because we're big on. We've had a lot of people on the show that are all health and fitness and health and wellness and stuff, and we've talked about the fact that the countries outside of America would not accept the food that Americans eat because of
Correct.
it's so bad. Like Nikki and I, about a month ago now, we stopped from talking to Nate and Peter. We stopped bad carbs and starches and crackers. Do you know what's in a Ritz cracker, Carl? Because it's insane, man. It's absolutely insane. Go to
Oh,
my
no.
Instagram.
What is in it?
Go to my Instagram and watch the reel about Ritz crackers, man. It'll blow your mind.
Okay.
It is crazy.
Now I'm
Yeah.
hungry for Ritz.
Yeah. No. You can't eat Ritz, man.
Ritz bad.
And it's
Ritz bad.
but see, here's the thing. Here's the struggle with it, because the convenience of a tortilla and the convenience of a sandwich. Like when I'm doing yard work like I did today, I came inside and I'm like, what do I eat? Because we
Now,
don't
let me-
have bread, we don't have tortillas.
Now, let me tell you the distinction right there that I just heard.
Okay.
I agree with you on the convenience of the bread.
Yeah.
But I fucking love a tortilla.
I do too.
I mean, like love, you know?
I know.
And then I love what's inside. And I'm like,
Well,
you
Like Chipotle.
Yeah.
just, whatever you put inside.
Chipotle
I
is
make
my
breakfast
life.
burritos.
I
just
do,
like-
dude. I do too.
There's love inside that tortilla, and the
Uh-huh.
tortilla is delicious, and it's one with me. I just can't give up my tortilla.
Right. Well, see, now I have egg wraps, but the problem with an egg wrap, it's only about the circumference of
And Peter told us that.
like a 10-pound weight. Okay, because people would explain so you can see. Like an egg wrap is just about the circumference of a 10-pound weight you put on when you go work out. Right. That's
can't get any
that's it.
filling in there.
It's not big, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I've had those, but like today I realized we still had tuna, so I actually just dumped 2 packets of tuna fish in a bowl and put mayo and mustard and spun it up, and that was my lunch. And it's satisfied. But it wasn't the same as having the burrito, man, because the tortilla, you jonesing for that. Like
I love tortillas.
since we stopped, like no lie, Nikki and I are doing dance lessons Mondays and Thursdays. And twice now we've stopped after dance lessons and went to Filberto's because this just go extremely bad that way.
Wait, so you're doing no carbs? No carbs?
We're not
Or
doing
sugar?
no carbs. We're doing no bad starch. So no breads, no tortillas, no crackers, because it's all refined and stuff.
Oh, got it.
So we're
Nice.
focused more on, because the inflammation that it causes and all of the bad stuff that comes with it. So we just decided to try it for a couple weeks, and then
Have you
I'm that
noticed
guy that
anything?
when I do something, I just do
Oh,
it.
he's
So
noticed a
aside-
huge. He just asked if you
Yeah.
noticed anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have a degenerating vertebrae in my neck, to the point that we stopped running because it was so jacked up. And I'm a runner. Like we were going to run the Marine Corps Marathon in October.
Oh, wow.
Like we've probably done 60 half marathons. Like we were runners. But once the short version of the long story, stress fracture my foot. I wore a boot for 8 months. That threw me off all of the cardio stuff. Getting back into it once I was released and healthy and the bone was healed was good for, I don't know, maybe a month or two. And then all of a sudden I started noticing some more pain going on because everything has shifted a little bit because it was degenerating anyway. So all the bad starches and the enriched food and stuff, it creates inflammation. So the inflammation, the tingling and the numbness and the pain in the neck stopped. Pretty much 95% of it went away. So
Oh, wow.
it's like, okay, so that's a good thing to stay away from. I mean, like I said, we still kind of fell off the wagon and had Filberto's a couple nights. And burgers aren't that hard, you know. It's just you go have a burger and you just hold the bun, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's
that I'm
not bad.
okay with. I mean,
Yeah.
I could probably live without a bun on my hamburger.
Yeah.
I just, man, the thought of giving up tortillas, I just don't.
I
think
know,
that's
it's hard.
gonna
It's
I just
hard.
don't think it's going to happen.
It's hard,
I don't
man.
see why I should.
Well, I'll
Mexicans
tell you
have
what, you
lived to
could
be hundreds of years old.
Right. You could keep the tortillas, get rid of the vape, because a whole new thing came out about vaping. And
Yeah, I
it's
gotta
the-
get rid
the,
of the vape.
The popcorn lung is the real thing.
That's crazy. Is
Yeah.
vaping the same as e-cigs, or is that different?
That's the same
Same
concept.
thing.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. He's smoking a cigarette basically on a vape.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never been a big smoker or anything, or vapor.
That's
Well,
good
you're
'cause
from
you're a
Malaysia. You
singer.
have but you have hookahs in Malaysia.
You just naturally inhale smoke just walking outside.
Right? In Arizona, it's common.
Just walk into the haze.
It
Right.
is very polluted in the valley. I'll give you that.
It is. So, sports. What kind of sports are in Malaysia? Is it?
Oh,
Ameri-
yeah, soccer.
Soccer?
Like, yeah,
So I was going to say
football,
soccer, but football. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're really
Okay.
big into the English league over there. That's
Okay.
like huge.
No, nothing else. No baseball, basketball, none of that.
I think the Indians are really into cricket and badminton. Badminton's huge
Oh,
too. Badminton's
Badminton,
huge. Yeah.
really?
They love cricket. Indians
Huh.
love cricket for sure.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a huge
cricket's
thing.
like-
But you know,
cricket's like-
the going back to the food thing with Malaysia.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
like baseball, kind of, but it goes
Okay.
on
Oh,
forever.
okay.
Yeah.
Go back to food.
I don't think
man.
there's like a-
It never ends.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking about the food in Malaysia. You know, what we noticed is like, you know how here in America, it's like if you go out to eat, it's going to cost you more.
Uh-huh.
But in Malaysia, you can actually go out to eat, and it's like cheaper to go out to eat. It's like
Really?
if you go to like the street foods, right? Like
That's what I was going to ask. The street vendors.
yeah, the street vendors, you get chicken rice, man, like perfect macros, like chicken, pure ingredients. It's like, oh, it's so good.
I bet
and you're
it's
paying
delicious.
like literally like $1.50 USD.
Oh,
so
wow.
so you do that 3 times a day, you're like less than like $4 or
That's
$5
awesome.
or
And you're
whatever.
eating great food, right?
And you're eating great food. Literally for $5 USD, you can eat like really good. And
Okay, so what's a chicken rice in Malaysia? What's that meal?
Oh,
Obviously,
it's like it's rice, some like a black sweet like soy sauce, cucumbers,
Okay.
some we call it sambal, which is like just like a little spicy sauce that you can have it with it. But then like the chicken, you know, like a lot of chicken, like
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah, doesn't it?
You're making
it's
me
my
hungry, dude.
yeah.
Because see, Mike's in Illinois, so it's what is it, 6:10 there? So he's like knocking on the
Well,
dinner door.
and here's the other thing that I hear. So Chris knows this, and the people listening, because I've said it probably 1,000 times, but I'm allergic to dairy. So like, I gravitated towards Mexican food when I moved to Arizona because, contrary to popular belief, people from Mexico don't use cheese like Americans do in Mexican food. If they
Right,
use
they
cheese,
don't.
they use goat cheese.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
But a lot of
Yep.
times they
Bah.
just sans the cheese, you know. It's just
Right.
burrito in your burrito is beans and rice and the meat, whatever you'd want.
Right.
The same thing goes for any kind of Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian. Now you're talking Malaysian, and everything you said sounds so good, especially to me because those are things I know I can eat without worrying about getting sick. Right? There's no
Yeah.
dairy in any of that stuff.
And we ate like crazy for 2 weeks. like we ate like crazy.
It
And I
sounds
came back
amazing.
and I gained 2 pounds.
Really?
That's it. I was like,
That's
I,
it.
I thought I was gonna gain like 12 pounds, dude, when I came back. But I think it is because they don't use the same food processing that we used here in the States.
Yeah.
I don't know what we do to our food. Like,
Well, Chris
like
just
sticks
said
to our
it.
gut
So
or
the
something.
things that he's trying to avoid is any kind of processed food. So
Yeah.
what Peter and Nate both kind of they had a little differing opinion, but the one thing that we agreed on is you want to stick with 1 or 2 ingredients in the main, like
Right.
Peter was saying no rice, and I freaked out about that too, right? Because I love
Right.
I love my Mexican
Yeah.
rice, and I just
Yeah.
love rice in general, right? As a bed to what Carl just said.
Yeah.
Chicken, pork.
Well, that
any
was
kind of
that
Asian
was
food.
essentially my lunch every day was a chicken rice burrito with sriracha sauce and
Delicious.
some cheese in there. And that's like when I came in from doing yard work, that's what I would have made. Or I would have had one made. I would make 3 or 4 Sunday night and have them throughout the week. Especially when I get done working out, I'd come home and eat the protein burrito.
But the problem is I have the same thing that Chris has, where we have
Right.
degenerative disc disease, And any kind of processed food like that, especially bread, crackers, the bad starches that he named, they cause horrible inflammation in your joints. So that whole podcast was basically about that subject. Anybody that's listening, go listen to the Peter Ho and Nate Palmer, any of those interviews. That's exactly what that's about, is the inflammation that it causes.
Conversations. We don't have interviews. There are conversations on the Chris and Mike show.
I walked right into that, Carl.
You walked right into that.
I have bitched about that from the get-go. But thank you very much.
I gotta go move a port so you guys continue the conversation.
Okay. I did walk right into that one. I'm like, we're not doing interviews, man. We're just, like when we're sitting around, and you'll appreciate this, after band practice. Sitting around talking to your brothers, man.
Yep.
Those are some of my favorite conversations, dude, because
for sure.
You could talk about anything from how do you buy a house to do you think that we're alone here? You mean like in this house, or no, dude, like in general, in the universe, those kind of conversations,
Yep.
I would be the one saying, you mean like here, just in the house? Like, you think there's a ghost? No, I mean like in the universe.
Well, that's a great question, because now all that alien stuff is coming out on Netflix, and it's like, okay, it really makes you think. And then I had a pilot that flew with me last week that swears, he's like, I don't even tell people this, but during my training, which was close to Luke Air Force Base, Sater area, just west of Deer Valley, he said he saw a basketball-sized orb fly under his right wing.
And how do you discount? You said it at the beginning when you came on the show. These kind of things are for what we all in society like to call above average intelligent individuals, right? So when you have a sheriff's deputy call in saying, I don't know what I'm looking at, but here's what I'm looking at, or like you said, a bona fide pilot who has no reason to say anything for fear of losing their license due to insanity, right?
Yeah.
When I hear it from my own father, has had experiences that have caused me to have to believe in things that I probably wouldn't believe otherwise, because he's a no-nonsense kind of guy, man. He's common sense to the bone, Here's the way shit's going to be, and I've said a million times on this show, he never had to yell, he never had to hit us. He's 6'4", and he's got a lot of common sense. So you can't argue with somebody who's been there, done that,
Yeah. And he saw stuff?
Oh, he's had encounters with ghosts. He saw a UFO on his way to a fishing trip, like close encounter, not just like out in bright light. That whole kind of what people describe.
So I guess it could be like, it could be advanced technology that humans made. But it just can't be nothing. Like, it just can't be nothing.
When we, like when him and I will go down that rabbit hole together, when we're riding in the car, just wherever at the casino or hanging out, just me and him, talking like guy stuff. How do you know that it's not just, especially like things like Bigfoot, because they never found evidence, right? So how do you know that's not an interdimensional being? And every now and then there's, Sedona is one of those natural vortexes, right? It's one of the 7 wonders of the world, they say, as far as energy goes. And I've been there and I experienced it, and it's not bullshit. There's something different about that spot on the earth, because I've been
there.
Beautiful, and you feel different. I felt like I was weightless there as far as stress and fascinating. Just one weekend.
Who's that in the window? Oh, it's Chris.
One weekend, I remembered it forever. So you can't say that about a lot of places, but
that's a great airport, by the way. If you have a little plane to fly into Sedona,
I bet it's got to be beautiful.
Oh, it's one of the top. I would say probably top 5 airports in the country to fly into.
If they ever want to pay us stupid money to keep doing this podcast, believe me, that's where I'll park my ass.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
I love that place.
I've never really explored Sedona in that kind of manner, but maybe next time I have to be more cognizant of it.
I can't recommend it enough, and it's right up the road from me. I'm like 1,800 miles away now.
But like, what did you do to feel that?
Just being there, man.
Oh, okay.
We went down and checked out like the Red Rocks and that canyon tour or whatever. We kind of and just going into the shops and talking to the people more so than anything. The people that actually live there on a day-to-day basis, you can tell the people who are there for the wrong reasons versus the people that are there for the right reasons. And I'm not sure I ran into any people that were there for the wrong reasons. They like to tell you about the history of it and how they ended up there, and just that seventh wonder of the world thing,
Yeah. Well, I definitely got to be a little bit more aware, because I do love Sedona. I think it's a beautiful place, but I guess I never had that feeling. I have that feeling a lot in the beaches, like Florida or Hawaii. Hawaii, definitely, for some reason, it's just like every beach. You can find a peaceful beach in Hawaii. You can find a violent beach in Hawaii. You can find the geography. Like, for some reason, Hawaii kind of has that effect. That sounds like that Sedona has on you.
Sure.
For me.
I guess my point was, I think maybe if there is all these dimensions that physicists have now told us are there, especially quantum physicists.
I like where this went.
Well, we were talking about the difference between like ghosts and aliens, and I'm starting to wonder if, like the flip side of some of these conspiracy theories aren't true, in that, are we living in a simulation? A lot of these things would make sense.
Yeah.
But the dimensions, for me, answer way more questions. Because these things might be so thin at those spots that literally that energy is right next to it, right? So now you're feeling that next dimension. Maybe that's all about love and unconditional love, and everybody's happy, and Donald Trump loves everybody, and
it's a
he
big,
says
beautiful
nice
bill.
things instead of mean things.
It's a big, beautiful bill. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody's gonna love the bill. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
But instead, in that dimension, he's saying, on page 39, here's where I'm gonna fuck you, right? Yeah. Or here's where Congress is gonna fuck you.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Every
Yep.
president, you look at they all had their own bills.
Everybody's got their agenda.
Right. They all got their legacies that they want to pass, and then it ends up.
It just has
there's
nothing
good,
to do
there's
with the
bad.
three people who are talking on this podcast.
Well, and that's kind of what I posted the other day. Like, protest.
I know.
Cool,
I loved
protest
your
all you
post.
want. Right. Protest all you want, but just you're destroying.
Don't wreck other
families,
people's shit.
Right. You're destroying families' legacies. You're destroying families that have worked hard and just trying to make a living and make their life better.
Talk about real, raw, and relevant. We're literally talking to somebody who immigrated to this country. His mother made a better life for her family. He became a productive member of society.
Right.
Not everybody that comes here.
Good job, Carl.
Is a fucking
I was wondering who
rapist
you guys were
or a
talking about.
murderer.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what strikes me about the riots and
No,
and
really.
that
I mean,
kind-
actually, you're an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
mother
absolutely.
came here. She made a better life for herself. You became a productive member of society. I want the people listening to the podcast who maybe don't think the way I do so open-mindedly, and the way all three of us do, that, not everybody that comes here is coming here for the wrong reasons. Most of them are coming here for the right reasons.
Yeah, Nikki's family immigrants. They came over.
This
Nikki's
whole country is
parents-
founded on immigrants.
Right.
Don't get me
And-
down that rabbit hole.
No, but and they were the Italian immigrants. So like legit, they built the East Coast.
Yeah, I would love to explore the East Coast, because I feel like everybody that's been in New York and Jersey and everything, there's like a different energy there, and I'm like, I haven't experienced that yet. I need to go experience that.
Well,
The fun thing about New York when we were there is we didn't drink as much water, man.
What do you drink? Wine?
We just didn't drink.
Oh.
We didn't feel the need.
Oh,
Because
okay.
In Arizona, this is like probably the 10th glass of water today.
oh yeah.
It's so dry. It's so dry.
Right. So you're constantly.
It's not
pounding-
here today, Carl. It's like 98% humidity.
Oh, over
Right.
there? Oh, where you're at?
Yeah, we got a
Yeah.
front moving in.
Oh my gosh.
brutal.
You know, I think my skin is like made for humidity, just because I was born in that climate. Every time I go back to
Everybody's skin's
Florida,
made for
it's
humidity
like,
because
yeah.
it's good for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably true.
But when it
We're
gets
100
excessive,
yeah.
it's hard to breathe.
Yeah, we're this is our next 5 days, and Carl, you may not know this or not, but 108 today, 110, 114, 109, 102. Then it drops Sunday
Oh, good.
to a calm 98 degrees.
Yay. It's like the
83
40s.
with 65% humidity. There you go,
Yeah.
Carl.
We don't see where humidity is.
That's probably exactly what you had about every day, right? 80
In Malaysia?
some degrees.
7% humidity.
60 to
7.
80% humidity.
Yeah. You would be drenched in your shirt. You would have
Yeah.
to change your shirt 3-4 times a day.
Yeah,
That's how it
that
is
I
here
don't.
today.
Yeah, no bueno.
That is-
no bueno.
Yeah. I guess it would be harder to control mold and stuff. But
Well, Jake, my son was
Yes.
in Japan. Okay, and stationed in Japan for a couple years during. He's still a Marine, but he was in Japan for a couple years, and Nikki sent him stuff that would help keep things dry because of the humidity. You know.
Yeah.
And so we never really dove deep in that. Did you dive deep into the conversation with him when he was on the show, Mike, about Japan's weather? Because I never really talked about it.
I don't think we talked weather that time.
It was just sake
But the
bombs.
one thing that I will say is Carl's right. So, like, if I didn't have central air, or, like, you know, people that don't have central air, which is not uncommon here, they'll have multiple window units because you're right, man. In the summertime, if you don't have air conditioning, everything will mold.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. The lady that put the air conditioning in this house, my mom was, well, still is, really good friends with her. And that's what inspired her to put central air in, is my mom said we had a horrible summer where it was, you know, like over 100 heat index every day. And she came home from work one day and the whole front of her cabinets were all full of mold.
Mold?
Yeah, just from being oppressive humidity for days and days and days. Yeah.
That's insane.
That's the downside, I suppose.
You got to have central air. That's what keeps your house from molding.
So does Malaysia have electricity?
Yes, it has electricity. You know
Come
what
on now.
we have those, like, you know, I don't know why they don't do it more in America, but they have like the individual units, like the AC units in each room.
Yeah.
Which I think is actually more effective and easier to maintain, because, like, if one of those breaks down, it's like way cheaper than if the whole central air.
No, I agree. I have a client. Yeah, I have a client in Cave Creek that they put, I forget what they're called, but he legit put one of those in every single room of the house. Every single room. Split. I forget what they're called. I want to say split system, but I don't think that's right. I know what you're talking about, the white things.
Yeah, split system,
Go on the top of the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, I know
exactly.
I see them.
And people say they're eyesores, but I think they look fine.
No, I don't think they look bad at all.
No, I think if you can dress them up a little bit, you know, maybe put some waves on them, you know, maybe little caricatures, you know,
flames.
Little flames would be cool. Maybe a little.
You know me, I'd put
Egyptian
flames on
things. You know,
My conspiracy mind is that you can get a bigger ticket item for a fix on a huge AC system than just one of those little ones, you know. And the same thing with water heaters. Like in Malaysia, there's electric water heaters, so they don't have big tanks that are heating up a bunch of water. It's just every shower head has a box like this big.
Well, you know why?
And you just press the button, and the electricity instantly heats up the water that flows through it.
Seriously?
Yeah. And so I'm like,
wow,
that's way more efficient.
Next time you go to Malaysia, take a picture of that and send it to me.
Oh yeah.
I'd be interested to see what that
I
looks
probably
like.
can just Google it and send it to you,
but that's not as fun. It gives you a reason to go to
He
Malaysia.
wants to get a live picture from
Mara, drop
we have to-
$2,000 on an air ticket.
Yeah, you just like Mara. Chris wants us to go to Malaysia and I take a picture of the water heater in the shower.
It's got to be legit.
You're right.
Okay, honey, let's go.
It's got to be in-person picture.
Right. It's, you know, I want a selfie, man. Here it is, Chris. Just point to it. Like, this is the microphone. Here it is. Click.
And he wants the timestamp to say whatever city, Malaysia.
Yeah. So then I can see it. You know,
That's hilarious.
that would be awesome.
That's the way we roll, man.
Yeah, you know.
Oh my gosh.
You can write it off. You just, you know, just say it's for real estate. You know, that you had a client that wanted to understand what
That's true.
demanding client.
a water heater was in a Malaysian bathroom because they wanted to build a house in Arizona that matched that concept. So, you know,
That'd be great.
I just got you a free trip, man. You're welcome.
That's true. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good. You know.
I'll start looking for tickets.
Now, when you go back to Malaysia, do you ever play? Do you ever play music in Malaysia? Like go to a bar and just jam out, like an open mic sesh?
No, I play for like family members, but I don't think I played. I played in a music store. You know the thing about Malaysia, they're very good musicians. Like you can't, like, I feel like I can get away with some mediocre performances here.
Correct.
But in Malaysia, you would get torn down. You know, like there's so many good.
So they know good from bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Americans, which I love, are a little bit kinder, you know?
Yeah.
Asians, not so much. They kind of just say it like how it is.
So if you suck, they're going to tell you suck?
Yeah. They won't pat you on the back and say good job. They'll be like, that was terrible. That's bad.
That's crazy. So our Australian friend was on, and they like totally embrace American music. Does Malaysia embrace American music? Or their own
top
thing?
40.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much you can hear the same top 40.
Is there anybody we would know that came out of Malaysia from a musician standpoint?
Guy Sebastian, he won Australian Idol. He's pretty famous in the pop world.
Okay.
So I
Are
think
they big in the are they big in like the K-pop scene, or is that more
Korea. I mean, I think there's because Malaysia is kind of like a melting pot. We have Chinese, Indian,
That's what I'm
Malays,
asking. I think
yeah.
they are too.
Yeah, I think K-pop's like my cousins, they like K-pop a lot, and
Girl I
So
work
K-pop
with,
is just Korean pop music, or is it K-pop as a
that's
band?
where it originated. Yeah. So
Korean
Okay.
pop.
their
all
style
Oh,
of
okay.
boy band, kind of, I'm probably butchering
very
this,
intense
but
training. Yeah,
dude,
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
amazing musicians. He can't
Ridiculous.
be any,
Yeah.
they're ridiculously fucking good.
yeah.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
introduced to this whole scene by a girl I work with, and she's like totally into it, knows as much about that as I do about hard rock and heavy metal, you know.
Wow.
And I like to be, I like to think of myself as educated and worldly, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to music. So
Sure.
as much as she thought she was boring me, I'm like, no, tell me all about it. I mean, it may not be my scene, but I want to know about it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was fascinated at how she'll show me these TikTok videos of their music and then them playing like a Metallica song on their guitar,
Okay.
you know? And they're note for
And they're
note, probably
shredding it?
better than the band.
Wow.
They are very intense with the practice, and they're like, there's a great documentary on Netflix now called Dirty Pop. It's about Lou Pearlman. Did you see it?
Yes, I saw that. I did, dude.
Dude,
That's
what did you think about
crazy,
that?
man.
What did you think about that?
It's just, I mean, it's all about the money, right? That's what he did it for. All about the money.
I think
just-
so, but then
Yeah.
I'm going to have to
And
watch
then
this now.
his schemes.
Mike,
his
you gotta
multi-level
watch it, dude.
schemes and shit. Yeah.
You
Dirty Pop,
guys
it's
need to
called?
talk about it after you watch it because there's aspects almost of Lou Pearlman, the guy,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
actually admire.
True, because he built. He.
I don't know
would
if you
build
feel the
these-
same way, but
I do because he took nothing and made it into this.
It was his vision, right?
yes, but
yeah, he built Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Yeah, I'm familiar
Yeah.
with who he is. For
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
But then the stuff behind
You
the
guys can
scenes
talk
was just
about it. I know the whole story behind Luke Pearl.
Oh, Lou Pearlman. Oh, okay, yeah. So I mean, he built these amazing boy bands, and then he got sued out of their contracts, and then still
Right.
went on to build some fairly big boy bands like O-Town and LFO.
Right.
Like they were fairly successable.
So who
And,
sued him? The guys in the band?
Yes, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys sued him
Yeah,
out
because
of
they
their
didn't.
contract.
They got what was there was a they got platinum, right? Million sale.
Oh, for
they all
sure.
got a
Yeah, I
platinum
think they
thing,
generated
right,
$200 million in sales
Right.
and revenue,
And
and
then
they
they
gave
got-
him 10 grand each.
Yeah,
Like,
10 grand each.
Fuck.
Right, and then
Yeah.
but the thing is, they were so naive about it because they were so
I didn't
young,
know it
like,
was
oh,
that
dude,
bad.
I got a $10,000 check.
yeah,
And
you
he's
would think
like,
he would
well,
make it like 100,000 grand each to
Right.
try to like lengthen this deal out a little bit more, but yeah, he
Right,
kind of screwed
and
himself there.
Right, and then the one I forget who it was, but he had worked at Texas Roadhouse or something equivalent to that, and so he was like showing this $10,000 check. They're like, dude, you make more than that in a year here.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of dawned on him, like, wait a minute.
That's
but the way he
terrible.
treated them was like first class all the way.
Yeah.
Like all the way. They wanted for nothing except they got this.
Can you
And
imagine
for
working
those
for a whole year for nothing? Like,
No.
Yeah, for 10 grand.
For 10 grand,
and
yeah.
playing out the sold out shows.
And they work
just-
hard.
Oh my God, they work hard. The time we talked about this before, Mike. The time and effort that you got to put into like rock bands don't
We
do all
all
the
know.
choreographing and stuff. But we watched. I saw a thing with Bruno Mars with his prepper for his upcoming tour he was on, or he's currently doing. The behind the scenes of what he does is just insane.
Yeah.
And I never thought about it. I never put it together that all that dancing has to be choreographed and
yeah.
practiced. and
Where'd you
work
watch
ethic
the
is
Bruno Mars one?
Outstanding.
Right. Time and time again. Like you could just I remember when back in the 80s, remember that band CC and the Music Factory?
Yeah.
Right? The See Me Hammer era stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I remember them stopping their tour because of exhaustion, and all the members of the band went to the hospital for exhaustion. I'm like, what the fuck? You're just standing on stage, and then the choreography part of it.
Yeah, they're probably
Like
running the
non-
equivalent of 5 miles or
nonstop.
something on
Yeah.
stage.
It's unbelievable that Backstreet Boys
Right.
and NSYNC could sing that well while moving like that. You know, it's like
Yeah, because lip syncing wasn't a thing back then. It wasn't there.
No.
yet. It
Well,
wasn't.
and the
I mean,
thing
none
that
of the
we're-
auto tracks.
The thing that we would all be familiar with is a drummer will tell you if you play a 2-hour show, that's the equivalent of running 5 miles. That's why
Oh,
most
yeah.
drummers are runners,
yeah,
for sure.
wow. Yeah, that's true.
That's
I
a
can't-
cardio, like, I always tell people it takes a certain kind of mentality to want to beat the shit out of something for hours on end because it's
Yeah.
not really a musical instrument, right? unless you have a band there.
Don't tell that to a drummer.
Don't tell it to Neil Peart.
I tell that to drummers all the time.
Neil would roll over his grave. He's rolling over his grave. Wait a minute. What'd you say, Mike?
When you put it in context, you're not making notes, right?
You got to tune the toms right a little bit.
You do?
Yeah, you do.
No,
You
not
do.
even a little bit. Ask Chris. I was a stickler for that one, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Scott taught me a lot about how to arrange songs and how to write songs. I taught him how to fucking put his drums just right, because when I met him, they were over-ringing over each other and they just weren't tuned right.
Well,
so,
you can't hear. I don't think drummers can hear behind the kit. I don't think they're hearing what we hear because it's going forward.
here's the
You know.
difference.
Yeah.
You go from being a guy playing in his bedroom, we've talked about this, to a guy playing in the garage. The first time a drummer has to be on a PA system, that's the first time they've ever been electronic, right? Guitar players have always had their amplifier. Bass players always have their amplifier.
Yep.
Chris and Carl both have to have a PA system because they're the lead singer. But
Yep.
that's the first time drummers have ever had microphones on there, and shit changes dramatically when you put a microphone on an acoustic drum.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'm a stickler
yeah.
for them sounding badass coming out of the PA, because if there's too many overtones, then that starts to bleed into your vocals, my guitar, the bass, and bad things happen.
Yeah.
That's where
And
the
then you can't
audience
hear it.
leaves.
Mike,
Right,
I would
'cause
love
you-
to send you. I just released a song on iTunes this past week called "To the
Please.
Future," and
Called what? Called what? Called what?
"To the Future."
To the Future.
By Carl Anthology is my stage name, but we recorded that in college, like years and years ago, and I found it in the archives. I'm like, I'm just gonna put this on iTunes.
Sweet.
But
Right
you
on.
could probably rip that one apart. Like,
No. Only if you ask me.
Now see,
no,
so you have to go.
I love it.
You'll have to go listen to a couple episodes now, Carl, because we always open with a song Mike and I wrote called "Free Man" that lyrically is still relevant today. But then you can
nice.
actually hear me singing and Mike jamming. You can hear the band.
Yeah, I'd love
But
to hear
I
it.
want to
Yeah.
re-record
it's-
that
it's-
so
it's-
bad.
I do too.
Free Man, what's the artist on iTunes it's under?
You won't find
It's
it.
not. We're not on iTunes yet.
Oh,
We got to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
It's just a demo from like 1995 that we recorded basically in my apartment, and I recorded
Oh,
the
wow.
drums in a double wide trailer.
I see. Yeah.
So
But it still sounds like it. It's
we
a lot
get
of
so
stuff
many
we wrote.
compliments on it, man. But the way I hear it in my head and the way Chris was going to lay his vocals down originally, I just so want to do that. He had
Do it
the
over
whole
again?
megaphone idea before Wyland or anybody. That's where that idea originated from, was that song. He's like, here's what I want to do. I want to have this guy talking in this voice, and I want to have this guy telling this part of the story, and it was genius. But we just never got
That's
to
awesome.
put it down the way that we had talked about it years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I want to hear it. You guys are more in like heavier stuff, right? Heavy metal.
It would be
Everything.
hard rock category.
It's hard
Hard
rock.
rock.
I always tell people when they ask what we sound like, we were Creed before Creed was Creed, because that's how I wrote lyrically. Our
Creed?
music.
But Creed's kind of like not that hard. Right.
No, but we had elements of it. Like we opened for Sacred Reich and Enough's Enough and Marshall Tucker Band, just to name three.
Oh,
so
yeah.
the dynamic there.
The Marshall Tucker
play
band's
with
like,
it.
yeah. that's-
But we could.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We could play with anybody because our music was just that music. It invited you in. We'd come out, bust 3 songs without me saying a word to the crowd, and just boom, boom, boom in your face, and then they were just like, "Oh,
Sweet,
what do we
yeah.
have here?" And
We'd
then
beat
it's
him
like,
over the
welcome
head
to
for
our
like
world.
11 straight
Yeah.
minutes.
And then you finally say something.
Yeah.
And you win them over. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's sweet.
But let the
You know,
music
Chris,
speak,
he was
'cause-
shy. He had to warm up to the crowd a little bit. He was so
I'm kind of
nervous.
like that too. I mean,
No, I'm-
Chris is not shy, but
He's not on any level. That's
but
why
for some reason I get
comfortable
shy
going
when
up
I
there.
get on there.
Do you get shy, or do you get, like, I used to call it like an adrenaline. Are you talking like stage fright?
No, not stage fright. Like I'm excited to perform.
Okay.
But like in the middle of songs and stuff, I'm just like so bad like saying stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was not.
Yeah, you're like that's a talent that maybe I need to practice a little bit more. Our band takes a little bit of time in between because I don't know, they got to do their stuff, and I'm just like standing there like, come on guys, like next song.
I can't talk Chris up enough to, like, if shit hit the fan,
Yeah.
he was just take control kind of guy.
On his
you
toes.
know?
Oh.
He would start giving away
Yeah.
free drinks to the crowds, or T-shirts, or bumper stickers. It's like, do what you need to do, man. I got this. It's all good.
That's
You know?
sweet.
Oh,
That's awesome.
probably the first conversation I had with my drummer when we had first met Chris was, that was the compliment I gave him right away. I'm like, we're going to be able to walk on a stage, and this guy's not going to have any fear. We went from a guy who had stage fright, the first gig we played in front of like 1,000 people, got the best gig you could imagine at the Electric Ballroom back in the day.
Okay.
And there was literally like 1,000 people there that night, and this guy froze. And my drummer was like, that can never happen again. And I couldn't argue with that. You can't be afraid to go on stage.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to be pumped. Yeah.
So Chris was the antithesis of being afraid to go on stage. He was like, let's go!
How'd you find Chris after firing that other guy?
I just wanted to jam, man. I just want to jam. I have to bail because my truck's ready. So this
I probably got to go too, man. I'm ready to eat.
We got to wrap this up.
This has been too much fun, Carl. You got to come back and do this
time.
again with us for sure, man.
Yeah, we'll have a show on you what you actually plan to have you come on, and we can talk all kinds of things again. Because
music, whatever you want.
Way to answer the text, man. That's fucking right on.
Dude, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
It's so nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We'll have to. Yeah. I'll text you my link to my iTunes.
Please, absolutely.
Please let me know what your honest thoughts are. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we always wrap up the show that don't let the bad days win. Mike and I have both been touched by someone who's taken their life. So somebody loves you, somebody miss you. Don't put that hole in somebody's heart. Talk to somebody. Go to sleep. Tomorrow's gonna be a better day. You will be missed. You are loved. Peace.
Love you, brother.
Love you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Carl.
Have a good night, Carl.
You too.
Peace.
Bye.
We're gonna fly into the